I urge you to stop ignoring this face melter. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. I'm GetGoodGuy, and I remember being killed by the FG42 in 2 matches since I started playing Battlefield 5. That's no exaggeration, twice. Now I'm sure there might be a handful of other times where I died, raged out, punched my Fabian Chill's voodoo doll, and then carried on playing without noticing what weapon it was. But the point is clear, there aren't many FG42 users out there, and realistically this is pretty obvious. How many videos are produced on this thing? How many forum posts are lauding its abilities? The answer is not many at all, but it has some genuine value. It provides a very different and somewhat unique option for the support class, a playstyle that you likely aren't tapping into and perhaps haven't even considered. So today I'll introduce you to it. Now I'm playing on console, so there may be a few more FG42 users on PC, as it's obviously easier to control recoil with a mouse, and recoil is one of the main downsides of the FG42. But regardless, console or PC, I want to hear from you in the comments if you're a regular user of the FG42. There has to be some of you out there. Some of you know what I know now. That being, if you hit the face, it melts. If you hit the body, it melts. Basically, if you can hit the target, it melts. So let's get into this. What makes the FG42 worth your consideration? Well, for a start, it's statistically superior to the ever popular KE7 for what most people rely upon that weapon for, close quarters fights. The FG42 absolutely destroys the KE7 within 10 meters or so. Of course, some prefer the KE7 for its basic all-round feel and somewhat easy to control nature, but if you want to base your selection on the concept of min-maxing, which is essentially choosing your equipment based on its dominant strength over other options, the FG42 needs your attention. It may not work for you, but if it does, you'll be happy you listened to me for a few minutes and gave it a try. But it's not just a K7 killer, it's far more than that. It fires at 760 rounds per minute, making it the fastest firing LMG, even beating the K7 with the light bolt specialization equipped. So it's an absolute melt machine, as I believe I've already made pretty clear. But for another comparison, this means it has the same rate of fire as even the MG34 MMG without light bolt equipped. So this is a real strong point. You can kind of think of it as a selection for if you wanted the lethality and CQC hipfire spray and pray of an MMG, but also want a bit more versatility to be able to be mobile, aim down sight, contest at mid-range, etc., with the obvious trade-off of a much smaller ammo capacity. It's a crude comparison, but I'm sure you see what I'm trying to say. But in addition, the hipfire doesn't actually have to be spray and pray. It can actually be relied upon for consistent results, specifically if you select the enhanced grip specialization, leaving you with a support hipfire monster. You'll notice in some of the footage that's already played and some of the footage that is still to come, then it can be absolutely deadly from the hip with this selected and if you have decent control of the weapon. But I did mention earlier very quickly a smaller magazine, and this does need consideration as it's capped at 20 rounds per reload, meaning this is not a suppression option. It's not much of a traditional support Overwatch pick. It's a slayer, an out and out lethal slayer, fantastic for 1v1 gunfights and allowing you to get up close and involved while using the support class. You're often killing one enemy, maybe two, ducking into cover to reload, and then coming back out for another kill or two. Slay, reload, repeat. So as an alternative to my earlier concept of an MMG alternative, you could think of it as kind of a really lethal close-range assault rifle, which seems odd as that's very different to an MMG, and that's because of the unique nature of the FG42. It somewhat falls between the two ideas and takes some of the positives from each. This is also because it can be highly affected by your specialization choices, which we'll come to soon, but its potential viability as a CQC assault rifle makes you question the usefulness of full auto assault weapons with equal or or less rate of fire, considering that they don't have a bipod, except the Ribber Relay, can't resupply themselves, and don't have an RPM advantage, whereas the FG42 has all of these. See what I mean? Obviously though, it could be argued that they have larger magazines and access to explosives such as dynamite, but it's one to think about depending upon your playstyle and what you enjoy using. But so far I've made it sound like this is only a close quarters option, which doesn't seem all that appealing on a game like BF5 with huge maps and wide open spaces. And I'd be doing the FG42 a real disservice if I left you with that sentiment. So I must stress that you can still use the weapon at mid-range and potentially even long range here and there. Recoil control matters a lot, burst firing certainly helps, and don't forget the presence of a bipod. A bipod adds so much versatility and range to essentially any weapon that has one. Use it when necessary and boost your killing potential beyond just close quarters. And that's all from a console perspective, where many players avoid the more tricky to aim and control options. All of this footage is from console, so you PC players have the opportunity to do this and more. It's going to be even better on that platform. Sometimes it's very obvious when you're coming up against a keyboard and mouse user on console. The difference can be drastic, and full auto weapons just suddenly kick into overdrive. But let's get to specializations. The two extremes you can go for are picking the left side of the tree except for at the bottom in order to focus upon fast reactionary play with quicker ADS times and improved hipfire, or the full right side for the more assault rifle feel. A bit slower to play with, but superior for mid-range fights and ADS heavy gameplay. Both of those options discount the use of a bayonet in favour of using light and stock for faster movement while aiming. But if bayonets are your thing, then the FG42 is one of those rare BF5 weapons that can equip one, so go for it. Personally, as you can see here, I tend to use the aggressive hipfire and quick aiming build. It seems to allow me to get the most out of the unique capabilities of the FG42, but you should have a play around and use what works best for you. And as has also been obvious, I tend to use the AA sights. This is unusual for me as I'm a firm believer in what the mid-range scope is capable of in BF5, but on this occasion I just prefer the AA sights, as they give me just that slight amount of magnification and are pretty much perfect for most of the engagements I try to take with the FG42, combined with a close-up, run-and-gun, hipfire-heavy playstyle. So overall, the FG42 isn't incredible as such. It's not overpowered, nor is it going to suddenly transform you into a god, but it's fun. It's a different option, it's viable, and in the right hands, it's downright scary. If you can really get to grips with it, you can panic the enemy as a super aggressive support player, of which there aren't many in Battlefield 5. Give it a try, see if you like it, and let me know what you think. And remember, if you're already an FG42 fan, be sure to say so in the comments below. And that's my roundup of why you should stop ignoring this absolute face melter. I'm going to let the rest of my footage play out now with some background music as per usual, so you guys can see some more of what the weapon is capable of from the perspective of me using it in my average game. If you want to stick around for that, then awesome. If not, then that's totally fine. Thanks for spending a few minutes here with me today. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and join my Discord server in the description and my pinned comment. I'll also throw up the board of awesome at the end of the video for the epic people who support the channel on Patreon, who I love deeply and often. And with that all said, I'm GetGoodGuy, and I'll see you next time. Laters.